Good evening, everyone. Welcome to NTD Tonight. I'm David Lamb, sitting in for David Zhang. Here are some of today's top stories. The Supreme Court issues a ruling on a Second Amendment gun rights case. We'll have more on the justice's decision. After an extensive collaborative effort, 2 men were arrested and charged with the murder of a young girl. A woman recently reunited with her dog after escaping wildfires in New Mexico. California continues to battle blazes in the north and south. First up, the Supreme Court issues a major ruling on Second Amendment rights. Let's take a look at what this decision means for gun ownership. A major Second Amendment case from the Supreme Court. The justices just ruled to uphold a law that prevents people with domestic violence restraining orders from having guns. The justices ruled 8-1 in favor of a 1994 ban on firearms for people under restraining orders to stay away from their spouses or partners. The case stemmed from a Texas man who was accused of hitting his girlfriend during an argument and later threatening to shoot her. The Biden administration defended the law, saying it's critical to protect public safety and abuse victims. The High Court's majority opinion agreed. The justices wrote that since the nation's founding, firearm laws have targeted people who threatened physical harm to others. Those who are against the ban argue that judges too easily issue restraining orders. And in the race to November, Trump and President Biden are bolstering their war chests. Trump's campaign said it's raised $141 million in May, while Biden said it pulled in $85 million that month. That's not including members from super political action committees, also called super PACs. Both campaigns are gearing up for a high-stakes battle after recent fundraising disclosures. Trump's super PAC received a hefty $50 million donation from Timothy Mellon, adding to his substantial support. That brings Mellon's overall contribution to MAGA Inc. to $65 million. The billionaire is now the former president's largest single supporter. Meanwhile, a pro-Biden super PAC hauled in $19 million from billionaire Michael Bloomberg. With conventions looming, these financial maneuvers are crucial as both sides vie for the presidency. At least 4 people have been killed in Mexico by the season's first named tropical storm Alberto. The storm has dissipated as it moves inland. According to the National Hurricane Center, Alberto's remnants were scattered over central Mexico by yesterday afternoon. In Mexico, at least 3 miners died from the storm, including one who was swept away by a current. A 4th person was killed due to an electric shock. One of the victims was later identified by emergency services as a 15-year-old boy swept away by a current outside Monterrey, Mexico's 3rd biggest city in Nuevo León state, where the Santa Catarina River swelled and broke its banks. But the storm system did bring much-needed relief to a region that's undergoing an extended drought. Weather forecasters say Alberto will continue to bring heavy rains and flooding across parts of northeastern Mexico. Much of the Texas coastline could also continue to see moderate flooding. Increasing numbers of electric vehicle owners are considering a return to gas-powered cars. Many complain about inadequate charging infrastructure and high ownership costs. According to the 2024 McKinsey & Company Mobility Consumer Global Survey, 46% of U.S. EV owners and 29% globally are contemplating the switch back. Australia leads with 49% wanting to return to gas. Despite these challenges, 18% of global respondents plan to buy EVs, up from 16% in 2022. As the U.S. strives to boost EV adoption with infrastructure investments, challenges persist. Only 8 charging stations out of a planned 500,000 by 2030 have been built so far. 2 suspects reported to be illegal immigrants were charged with the murder of a 12-year-old girl in Texas. NTD's Jason Blair reports.
Many of us have kids and cannot imagine the pain that they're going through.
The body of 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungrai was found early Monday morning in North Houston. Investigators suspected foul play, and the cause of death was reported as strangulation. In a collaborative effort, authorities were able to backtrack from where her body was found and identify the two suspects.
And their hard work paid off because we were able to find video and trace the movements of our suspects and of Jocelyn, and all the way to the point of where she was murdered and left in a bayou.
Surveillance footage showed the two men walking with Jocelyn near a convenience store before the alleged murder took place. Both suspects were arrested Thursday and charged with capital murder on Friday. Fox News reported that the two men are from Venezuela and were previously caught by Border Control after crossing illegally in El Paso, Texas. The Houston mayor had a message for the justice system.
We're going to be watching you. The arrest has taken place. The charge has been filed. Now we want the justice system to do its job.
A GoFundMe was set up to help the family with unsuspecting costs. Anyone with any additional information is urged to contact the Houston Police Department Homicide Division. Jason Blair, NTD News.
A woman recently reunited with one of her dogs after escaping the New Mexico wildfires. Wildfires continue to burn parts of New Mexico and the West. Here's the story.
Courtney Bell is one of thousands who fled their homes in Ruidoso, New Mexico. She has 4 pit bulls, but had to leave Capone behind.
All you're thinking is, I just left my dog, like a dog that I love. Like, he's 8 years old, and we've had him so long since he was young, and he's part of our family.
As the South Fork fire approached her home, she went with her daughter and 4 dogs in her 4-door Honda. But Capone was anxious, causing her other dogs to get tense. To protect her daughter and the rest of the dogs, she left Capone behind.
I did the best I could in making sure I gave him every opportunity for rescue or escape by leaving him in the backyard. And I left my hose on with the sprayer, and I had a sogged down huge area rug that I put on the back steps of my porch. And there was a crate in the backyard, and all I could do was pray that, number one, he wouldn't be affected, and that perhaps somebody could help us.
And help did arrive. After making a Facebook post about Capone, a couple called her saying they found her dog. Belle is no stranger to evacuations, as she survived a fire in Colorado previously.
They're just animals to love and to love you back, and if you're having a bad day, they're there, and they're not going to sass you or, nag at you for being late. They're just happy to see you.
Belle's home was spared from the active wildfires that have yet to be contained. In the meantime, she has found calm and safety at the Eastern New Mexico Fairgrounds shelter. On Friday, the village of Ruidoso, New Mexico said power outages and flooding remain significant concerns for the region. Fire activity has lessened due to high humidity and rain, helping firefighters battle the South Fork and salt fires burning in the state. California also battling fires.
And we're moving into heightened fire season, and it's not clear if this is going to be worse or better than previous years. There's so many variables that go into this, but the high pressure domes that dry things out are definitely a prerequisite for having fires start.
According to CAL FIRE, the Sites fire in Northern California has scorched over 19,000 acres and was just 25% contained as of Friday morning. And the Post fire in Southern California is now 61% contained after burning nearly 16,000 acres.
A judge ruled Thursday that a Southern California judge can stand trial on a murder charge in the shooting death of his wife. The decision comes after finding there was enough evidence for the case to continue.
After a preliminary hearing for Orange County Superior Court Judge Jeffrey Ferguson, a Los Angeles judge ruled that Ferguson can stand trial for murdering his wife in their home in the upscale neighborhood of Anaheim Hills. He was arrested in August. The hearing was held before Los Angeles County Superior Court Judge Eleanor J. Hunter to avoid a conflict. Ferguson's attorney said the only eyewitness, their adult son, believes the shooting was an accident and that Ferguson's wife was, quote, the love of his life. Ferguson, who is also a former prosecutor, is scheduled to be arraigned in Los Angeles on July 5th on one count of murder and weapons-related enhancements. He remains free on a $1 million bail and is required to use monitoring devices for GPS and blood alcohol content.
We'll take a short break now, everybody, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come right back. Studies show microplastics are getting into people's bodies, but how can we detox? NTD's Jason Blair learned some tips from experts. Summer Movie Camp is back at AMC Theaters, offering budget-friendly movie tickets for the whole family. Her hand and footprints are now joining many others outside the TCL Chinese Theatre in Los Angeles. Those stories and more coming up on NTD Tonight. Welcome back to NTD Tonight. I'm your host, David Lamb. Studies have been showing that microplastics are getting into people's bodies. While scientists are still learning about their specific health impact, most experts agree that they're another toxin in our environment that should be addressed. NTD's Jason Blair spoke with some experts on how we can detox from them and other harmful substances.
In recent studies, microplastics have been found in human blood, breast milk, placentas, and testicles, with many studies showing them in 100% of the tested subjects.
And the amount of microplastics in our environment is really staggering.
Harlan said they get into our food, water, personal care products, and our clothes.
The evidence is becoming clearer and clearer that the toxic load in our environment is playing a direct impact in us as a society, suffering from more physical and mental health issues than we ever have before.
Usually it's not just one toxin or one heavy metal or one chemical that is going to potentially cause a disease process to happen in the body, right? There has to be usually some sort of overwhelm.
Irby said she likes to explain it as if everyone has a hypothetical toxicity bucket they manage in their bodies.
And every day, every single minute of every day, we're breathing, drinking, eating, and we're adding toxins to that bucket. And the body, in a healthy body, then we're able to empty the bucket at least the same speed or faster than we are adding toxins in, right?
So what can we do to efficiently empty them from our buckets? Experts told me our bodies can get rid of microplastics and other toxins naturally. The primary ways are through stool, urine, and sweat. Here are some good foundations to start from: taking care of our digestive health, liver health, drinking enough water, and sweating regularly.
Whether that be through exercise or even a sauna, is going to help tremendously because it's one of our body's key ways to detox.
So what's a good way to help maintain digestive and liver health?
I know it sounds cliche, but eat plenty of fruits and vegetables.
After the basics, experts recommended a few specific items that can support our natural detox process. Astaxanthin, which is a powerful antioxidant, watercress, a highly nutrient-dense vegetable, green tea, dandelion root, and a binder like activated charcoal.
Yeah, one of the best things you can do is activated charcoal. Binders actually bind to toxins, especially heavy metals, in our blood system, in our bloodstream, and pull them from our body.
Experts also said, along with these tips, it's good to limit your exposure to microplastics and other toxins as best as possible, and to avoid excessive junk food and alcohol, as these can negatively impact the body's detoxification process. Jason Blair, NTD News.
Turning to sports, the Lakers hired Redick as their new head coach, and boxing star Ryan Garcia faces a 1-year suspension for a positive drug test. Let's take a look.
The Los Angeles Lakers have agreed to a 4-year contract with Redick to make him the franchise's next head coach, sources told ESPN on Thursday. Redick, who has been an ESPN NBA analyst since retiring from his 15-year playing career, reportedly met with Lakers Vice President and General Manager Rob Pelinka and owner Jenny Buss over the weekend. Discussions continued throughout the week, culminating in Pelinka offering Redick the job on Thursday morning. Pelinka was impressed by Redick's ability to connect with players and his deep basketball knowledge. Redick's candidacy gained momentum after the Lakers' pursuit of Connecticut coach Dan Hurley fell through. Hurley turned down a 6-year, $70 million offer from the Lakers last week, prompting the team to shift focus. The Lakers are looking for a teaching coach who can prioritize the development of young players like Max Christie, Austin Reeves, and Rui Hachimura, while also designing a strategy to maximize Anthony Davis's impact on both ends of the floor. Redick's existing relationship with Lakers star LeBron James, with whom he co-hosts a basketball podcast, adds a layer of familiarity and trust to his new role. Boxing sensation Ryan Garcia has been hit with a 1-year suspension after testing positive for the banned drug Ostrine, used to enhance muscle growth and recovery. The New York State Athletic Commission announced the suspension, which is retroactive to Garcia's April 12th victory over Devin Haney. That decision has now been overturned to a no contest, erasing the blemish from Haney's record and reinstating him to 31-0. Garcia, 25, will forfeit his $1.2 million purse from the fight and has been fined an additional $10,000. Devin Haney expressed relief over the decision. He emphasized the importance of a level playing field in boxing, a sport where the stakes are incredibly high, with each bout potentially altering a fighter's career trajectory. Garcia, one of boxing's brightest stars, faces a year-long layoff, set to return on April 20th, 2025, pending a clean drug test. Garcia's team maintains his innocence, claiming he never intentionally ingested any banned substances.
AMC Theaters is helping moviegoers beat the heat with its budget-friendly summer movie camp program. NTD's Christina Corona has more details on the ticket offer.
Starting June 24th to August 14th, customers can watch select movies for $3 plus tax at participating theaters, with a new title featured every Monday and Wednesday. The program will be available at over 250 AMC locations nationwide, featuring 8 movies from Universal's Illumination, including Migration and Despicable Me 3. Sponsored by Universal's Despicable Me 4, the program will also offer Spanish-dubbed versions at 30 select locations on Wednesdays at 2 p.m. AMC also offers discounted tickets for its members on Tuesdays for those wanting to see new movies at a lower price. Christina Corona, NTD News.
A longtime comedy icon imprinted her hands and feet into cement in Hollywood. She is 91 years old and says she's grateful to join other Hollywood icons who have left their handprints outside the theater.
Comedy icon Carol Burnett placed her hands and feet in cement outside TCL Chinese Theatre on June 20th. The 91-year-old was celebrated for her ongoing career, from her long-running television show, The Carol Burnett Show, to her contemporary roles in Better Call Saul and Palm Royale.
I'm just grateful. That's all I can say. It's just, I'm so excited, to have this happen after all these years and being raised here, just a few blocks away. This is my neighborhood.
Burnett grew up around the corner from the famous Hollywood forecourt.
When I was a little girl, I can't begin to count the times that my grandmother and I would walk up here to the Grauman's Chinese, that's what it was called then, and look at all the footprints and handprints of all these great movie stars. And Betty Grable was one of my favorites, and I remember bending down and putting my hands on her handprints, never dreaming that someday I'd be putting my hands here 80 years later.
She also joked that when she came with her grandmother to see a film at the theater, they would steal the toilet roll from the ladies' bathroom. Burnett's Palm Royal producer and co-star, Laura Dern, campaigned for the ceremony after she discovered Burnett had never been given the honor.
We love you, Carol. We are humbled by all that you are. We are honored to pay tribute to your genius, the gift of your artistry, and for the joy that you have brought all of us throughout your life and career, and we can't wait for so much more.
When asked who Burnett wants to collaborate with, she answered Meryl Streep, George Clooney, and Bradley Cooper.
Stay tuned for China in Focus with Tiffany Meyer coming up next. An online network helping illegal Chinese immigrants cross into the U.S. Its owner says he's a cyber police officer in China. More on China in Focus with Tiffany Meyer at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And that's all we've got for you tonight. We'd like you to join us again on NTD Tonight every weekday at 9 p.m. I'm David Lamb. That's our program. Have a wonderful weekend.